Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Game Things. I'm your host for the week, Ming, and today we'll start off our episode by talking about the most recent Bandai Namco Summer Showcase. So first things first, we got Naruto X Boruto Ultimate Ninja Storm Connections, releasing on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X, Xbox One, Switch, and PC later this year. So as you might expect, it's another type of fighting-esque game featuring Naruto characters. So if you guys are fans of Naruto, you guys should definitely check out this game because so far, at least based on my childhood memories, Naruto fighting games tend to be pretty fun. So yeah, if you guys like a more not too competitive type of fighting game, definitely give Naruto X Boruto a shot. Then we have gameplay footage reveal for Sandland. So Sandland is actually pretty interesting because Sandland is a JRPG game that has Dragon Ball like aesthetics but doesn't really feel like a lot of JRPGs out there, like maybe Dragon Quest or for example stuff like Xenoblade. A lot of JRPGs you tend to have stuff like magic and stuff like that, but Sandland is actually more similar to Metal Gear Solid. So it'll be a lot of situations whereby you kind of fight in melee combat, then out of nowhere you kind of get like mechs or tanks and stuff like that to kind of progress through your journey. So yeah, if you guys are interested in Sandland, make sure to, bookmark it and wait for more news from us because currently it doesn't have a release date yet. So as of when we have any release date, we will announce it to you guys in one of our episodes. So be sure to like, subscribe, and make sure to ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any sort of updates like these that you might be interested in. Then we have Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash. So Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash is a fighting game based on the popular anime Jujutsu Kaisen. And it's not like your 2D type of fighting game, for example like Mortal Kombat or Tekken. Instead, it's a 3D based fighting game somewhat similar to Jump Force, which was sadly cancelled. So yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen looks pretty good. I think combat wise it looks pretty good. It's based on what was showed on the gameplay trailer. It's a 2v2 type of fighting game. But the only downside about the trailer is that so far they have only showcased 4 playable characters and they have not confirmed whether or not they are going to be more playable characters. Like all other gamers out there, I personally do not want to see too many characters being placed as DLC characters because nowadays a lot of fighting games commonly do that. They put brand new characters in DLC packs and well, they kind of force you to pay for it if you want to play these characters. So having a good pool of starting characters for the game without having to pay for anything extra is actually really very important. So I really hope that Jujutsu Kaisen Cursed Clash actually has a solid pool of characters so we don't have to be forced to buy the DLC just to enjoy the game. But the good news is that the game will be releasing on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X, Xbox One, Switch, and PC. So a large variety of platforms for you to choose from should you decide to play the game. Moving on from the Bandai Namco Summer Showcase, we'll talk about the Annapurna Showcase. So Annapurna Showcase, well, they didn't really showcase too many interesting things, but there were 2 particular titles that caught my eye. First is Stray, the very successful cat game that was released last year. So Stray has now officially been confirmed to be releasing on Xbox Series S and X, Xbox One on August the 10th. So if you guys have not played the game yet, be sure to get the game when it's released on Xbox because it is a very good game that doesn't take very long for you to complete and definitely very enjoyable. Then we have a really weird game, I guess, but it definitely looks very interesting. And this game is Thirsty Suitors. Yeah, as you might think, the game is, well, somewhat about romance, but at the same time, not really. So this game features a Indian female teenager and, well, basically her life, dealing with her parents, dealing with her exes and stuff like that. And it's really weird because throughout the game, you kind of go around your town on your skateboard and try and solve some sort of skateboard cult mystery, I guess. And at the same time, you also have to fight like your exes. You can choose to fight with them or you can choose to flirt with them, and then you also have to deal with your parents. So it's really like confusing because they kind of lump a lot of different things together. And the weird part is like when you choose to fight your exes, they kind of go through a magical girl sequence. So yeah, it's really interesting and at the same time really really weird. But in any case, if you guys are interested in this game, it will be available on PlayStation, Xbox, Switch and PC on November 2nd. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna cover from the showcases. Next, I'm gonna talk about Ubisoft, specifically Assassin's Creed. So we currently have reports that they are remaking Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and it's in very early stages of development. But of course, it's kinda unconfirmed yet, but if there are rumors generally, it kinda means it's been confirmed, so fingers crossed, hopefully they are remaking it, because Black Flag, from my memory, is actually pretty decent, so it's good that they are doing something to revive certain old titles, instead of working on titles that are way too long, like most of the recent Assassin's Creed. Aside from that, we also have news on the studio that developed Lord of the Rings Gollum. So, unfortunate news, the studio has officially been shut down, and development for a supposed sequel for Lord of the Rings Gollum has officially been cancelled. So, yeah, I guess it's to a certain extent kind of good news for the gaming industry in general. Well, next we'll talk about Sifu. So Sifu has been confirmed to have a one final update coming this September, and this final update will add 6 new locations to arena modes, 27 new cheats and modifiers, 2 new outfits, as well as 75 additional challenges. So if you guys really enjoyed the game a lot, definitely revisit the game to enjoy all of these brand new updates. And that's basically all the major news we have for this week. Next, we'll talk about some delays. So first thing we have is Ark Survival Ascended, which has been delayed and will now officially launch on October this year. Aside from that, the game will be launching at early access with a price of $44.99, and upon launch it will also have a discount, making the game available at $39.99, effectively a $5 discount. So if you guys are interested in the game, make sure to take advantage of this slight discount when the game is available on early access. But of course, if you ask me, I think the best thing to do is actually just wait until the game leaves early access, then only get the game, because let's be real, nowadays games kind of release during early access and a lot of times they aren't complete, so you might want to wait a little. The next delay we have is on Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown, which has been delayed to the first half of 2024 with no other updates for the moment. So yeah, if you guys were looking forward to the game, unfortunately you guys will have to wait a little longer and pray real hard that the release date for Test Drive Unlimited Solar Crown will be given to us eventually. And that's basically all the delays we have for this week. Next, let's move on to some titles that you can get your hands on right now, starting with Guild, available on PS5, PS4, Xbox Series S and X, Xbox One, and PC. So Guild is a horror-based adventure game that's basically somewhat similar to Resident Evil, just that instead of zombies, you fight against some shadowy monsters, and instead of a Chad like Leon, the protagonist is a small girl called Emily. So Guild in general plays somewhat similar to Resident Evil, just that, well, in terms of resources, they are definitely more generous. So you don't have a gun, but you have a torchlight that kind of serves as a gun against these shadowy monsters. And well, since she's a small child, she actually doesn't really fight against these shadowy monsters too much. She kind of hide a little bit, solve some puzzles, hide, sneak past these monsters, and maybe occasionally kill these monsters with your torchlight. So yeah, if you guys are just looking to try out something new and maybe looking to find something similar to Resident Evil but just less gory and violent, I guess, then maybe give Guild a shot. Next, we're gonna talk about another title releasing this week, which is The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie. So as you might expect, it's a JRPG, but what makes The Legend of Heroes Trails into Reverie different? So the thing that makes this game unique is that it features 3 protagonists. And unlike other games that features multiple protagonists, Trails into Reverie has 3 characters, effectively making 3 different storylines that you kinda have to progress kind of together. So how it works is that you can play as character 1's storyline, and you can progress it up to a certain point before you are locked out and you have to progress character B's storyline to make sure that you can, as a whole, ensure that you progress through the story together with all 3 protagonists. Which is actually pretty interesting because it basically makes the story very fresh, because you definitely see all of the story angles from 3 different points of views, and you can see that what's going on behind the scenes because you have full information that not all the protagonists have. So it makes for a really interesting storytelling mode. Aside from that, the one downside of this 3 protagonists mechanic is that, well, like most other JRPGs out there, you kind of have a pretty large party, and as you might expect, with 3 different protagonists, you can have a crap ton of characters. So yeah, if you guys have never played any of the Trails games before, you will definitely get lost because there's going to be really a very, very, very large cast of characters. But in general, it's actually pretty interesting, and the gameplay wise, well, it's like most other JRPGs out there, turn-based combat with a ton of very interesting mechanics and customizations. So yeah, I think overall the game is pretty good, and it's definitely a interesting spin on JRPG, and that marks all the games that we have available for this week. Next, we move on to our last and final segment featuring 3 things. First, we have Epic Games Store giving out Grime. Then we have PS Plus subscribers being available to redeem Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Alan Wake Remastered, as well as Endling Extinction is Forever. Then for subscribers of games with gold, you guys are getting Darkwood and When the Past Was Around. Lastly, for people that subscribe to Prime Gaming, you guys get Cook, Serve, Delicious 3, Nairi, Tower of Shirin, Witchwood, as well as Lunar X. So be sure to get all these games while it's still available. And that marks the end of our episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, I was your host Ming, and we'll look forward to seeing you guys next week in another episode of Game Things.